Do time and we're gonna read some comics. Yes, we're gonna read them. It's lazy dude time and my guitar's lost a string, so I can't play my song for you. But here we go once again on my Arkham Asylum run. I've already done a review on Batman Arkham Asylum, the video game. Next, I'm gonna do a different review of a comic book, Arkham Asylum. But it's not the one you're thinking of. It is Batman Joker's Asylum. Now, I bought this book a little while back, and I must say, I like it a lot. It has really good stories, narrated by the Joker. And he tells stories of Two-Face, Penguin, Scarecrow, Poison Ivy, and of course himself. And so I'm going to take a look at those stories. Our first story is about the Joker himself. It's about how the Joker takes over a game show and he, gives people these impossible questions that they're supposed to answer. And so then once they answer, it also goes into the studio, and the producer's like, hey, keep this running, this is good for our ratings. And those people, they sign releases, we can do anything, the Joker can cut them up and we're not liable, sort of thing. The funny thing is, in this one, Joker actually doesn't kill anyone. I won't give away what he does, but it's actually kind of funny how he doesn't kill anyone and makes everyone else seem kind of like the bad guy. It's a nice story, and really well done. I like it. He says at the end, it's the best time I ever had without killing anyone. The next story is about the Penguin. This one is actually my second favorite out of all of them. Out of all the stories, because it's just like the Penguin never really seemed crazy to me. He didn't seem like he was a crazy guy until there's this one moment that happens, and I'm thinking, wow, Penguin is crazy. See, the basic story is the Penguin rescues this woman sold on this sort of black market thing. So he doesn't think anyone should be treated that way, so he frees her, right? But it also says how Penguin always hated being laughed at as a child, and there's this one scene where he thinks that this chef laughed at him, and what happens next is like one of those chilling things. I'll read it to you, though. And so they enjoyed their dinner that evening. The Penguin never said a word about the chef who laughed. But a few days later, that building had a new owner and the restaurant was forced to close. All its employees all fired. And the day after losing his job, the chef found that his girlfriend had suddenly been deported to Romania, his best friend arrested for child pornography despite his instance that he was framed. The day after, a new tenant moved in next door and began blasting stereo at all hours of the day and night. The landlord stopped taking his call. The church he attended was closed for fumigation after a bizarre infestation of killer bees. The park where he liked to sit and read was annexed and bulldozed. And then the chef, who was a recovering alcoholic, woke up one morning to find that a 24-hour liquor store had opened across the street from his apartment. Less than 2 months after he crossed paths with the Penguin, a night janitor found that the chef in a bus station in the restroom. He hanged himself. The day after, the Penguin scanned the obituaries. Wow, that guy's crazy. I won't go into every story, but the Penguin story, it made me look at the Penguin actually a whole different way. How he wasn't just a crime boss, that he was actually, in his own way, a little insane. Now, Poison Ivy's story, it's a pretty good story, decent, and I actually like the way they take these and they show it from like the villain's point of view and how they think they're actually, some of them think they're actually doing the right thing. Like in Poison Ivy's mind, she's actually saving the world, sort of thing, because she doesn't care about humans, she cares about plants, and thanks to global warming and all that, she's doing justice, sort of thing. Now, Scarecrow's tale, whole different story. This is actually a weird Scarecrow tale. It's not really him fighting Batman. It's about this girl who goes to a slumber party of mean girl. Apparently, Dr. Crane is her shrink, right? So she goes there, and then he slowly infects all of them with the fear gas, and they find out what they truly fear. I will say this, it does have a cool twist at the end. It kind of, I won't give anything away. I'm trying not to give any spoilers away. But it's an alright story. It's not great, but it's still a good Scarecrow story. It's like, for some reason, even though I don't think it's as good as the others, I find myself reading it a lot. Now, our last story is Two-Face. This is my favorite one. Because the way they do Two-Face in this is so cool. It's so weird because they're doing these evil acts and we think they're so cool. Like, I'm like, man, this is so cool. I'm like, the guy's doing an evil thing. He's trying to acid somebody's face off. That's not cool. But it is. Joker was once again narrating the story. It starts out with a man who comes to visit Harvey Two-Face, who has had half of his face burned off. He's been going around telling people who have been scarred like him how they can cope with this and how they don't have to treat it like a curse. Two-Face sees this at a whole different angle, and first he just thinks it's just a goody two-shoes sort of things, but you can see in Two-Face's mind how he's working this to his own insane logic with the twos, right? And at the end of the interview, the guy asks, "Would you like me to visit again?" And he says, "I can't answer that." With that one toss, it turns up bad side. And he says, "Shall I come back next week?" And he's like, "No." He's like, "You don't want to see me again?" He's like, "Oh, I'll be seeing you." Two-Face eventually breaks out of prison and then goes to this guy's house, kidnaps him and his wife, and he forces him to make one of his, two choices sort of thing. I won't go into detail of what it is, but it's very, very nice. And Two-Face is this close to killing his wife. This close, and then Batman, of course, comes and saves the day. But what makes this my favorite is, after this, his wife, his wife can't believe that he risked her life in order to, by meeting with this guy, and so he leaves, and and he's looking in a mirror with a cell phone on the desk and a loaded gun. Coolest ending, I think, in comics. Because the Joker, who's narrating, he says, "You are going to decide how to end this story. I want you to find a coin. Look in your pocket, wallet, wherever. You must have a coin somewhere. I'm not joking around. I mean it. Humor me. Go find a coin now. Once you got it, you turn the page. You flip the coin. If it's heads, he calls his wife, and they get back together, and it ends in a happy ending. However, if it's tails, not so much a happy ending." So that's my view on Joker Asylum. I love this. It's a really good read. It's just an in-depth look of Batman's villains, and it's a really good one. I definitely recommend picking up this volume, buying it, just doing whatever. Just read it. You'll really want to see this for yourself. So remember, I'm LazyDude99, and if I don't like it, it's not worth reading. And I like this, so give it a read.